Come on, big gold belt. Come on, y'all.
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, My Desire, and didn't see 23 in the building. This is it, y'all. This is it. We deserve to put up. Let's see if it's gonna work. Will it work? It won't work. Maybe Denny will get it for you. There we go. We got lasers because it's lit. Okay, Bel-Air, the season finale. Of course, episodes 9 and 10. Bro, this is wild. How you feeling about it, partner?
I'm not gonna lie, a piece of me is hurt that it's over so soon.
Absolutely.
I really enjoyed this season. I feel like it threw so much and answered so much. Like they did such great job with this season with the writing and the actors, and basically drawing out so much emotion from not only myself, but I feel like a lot of our viewers too. Like, because those comments, I'm not gonna lie, you guys are funny, man.
Listen, shout out to y'all for coming through, rocking with us, watching us in our funny commentary, and of course commenting. Because you know I'm gonna come in with the fingers. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna clack it up. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate that. Because it's fun to know that y'all, have different opinions, or even if y'all agree with us, it's really cool. So. Of course, we're here to discuss Bel-Air, the season finale that was airing on Peacock. Let's just jump right in. Okay, these last 2 episodes are extremely, extremely loaded, but let's just start with the biggest thing to chew on, right? Will, Carlton, and Lisa, all of this happening after Amira tried to commit suicide in the pool. What were you expecting of them? Like, to feel before we really even get into the scene? Like, what were you thinking?
To be completely honest, I expected Carlton to be messed up about it. I didn't know how Lisa felt about it, only because she was like torn on like the whole coming out to Carlton about the situation. But now that it's out, like I didn't expect her to be as down as it was portrayed in this episode 9. Will, on the other hand, I felt he acted the way I expected him to act. Like, damn, that's messed up. But hey, you chose to do the drugs, so you gotta
you chose to do the drugs. You gotta do your favorite line. There's cocaine in here.
She got cocaine in here. Hello. Carlton. Well, listen, all I'm saying though is for the initial start scene, seeing like Carlton like sitting outside of Amira's house, like pondering, like, oh my gosh. I thought that was a bit too much, Carlton. Just a bit.
Well, let's think about this though, right? Carlton is also staying sober, right? He's in his sobriety, so this is a really big hit for him. He's been doing extremely well. Blackccess, passing his piss test that obviously has to do with his dad and probation officer or whatever have you. He's been staying clean. This is a really big hit because everything else he's been able to pretty much come back from, right? We had that little hiccup where they do tell him in episode 8, and he freaks out for a little bit, but then he manages to actually come out there and kill the presentation. For me, when I saw the opening scene, you have Will trying to figure it out, laying back on the bed, feeling some kind of way. Carlton outside, waiting in the car, hoping he could see her, not being able to see her, and Lisa going to the pool, and the pool is closed, and having a flashback of her saving Amira. And so there's so many different things. Again, like
even with that, I thought that was crazy because they had like her floating body still showing in the water, like she was in there for mad long or something. Like I just feel like I get perception is a mother effer, but as far as the weight that it really held, I didn't expect it to hold that much weight.
Well, we don't know how long she was in there for, right? We only see when she falls in, but then we also see when she goes in and they find her because he's looking for her actual
location,
right? Yeah. And so also just remembering, that these are kids, essentially. You know what I'm saying? So they're still dealing with their feelings in a very different and weird way. So, I was interested to see how this will play out. And of course, I'm not surprised by no means, you know what I mean? And then we have the interaction where Carlton comes home and he's talking to Will, and Will basically tells him, like, it's not your fault. And boom.
Well, yeah, Will told Carlton it's not his fault, and I thought that was great, like, boom. But I didn't expect Carlton to hit below the belt like that. Not gonna lie.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of expect this from Carlton's character, because this is pretty much how it's been. Like, he tends to lash out when he's really in pain, when he's going through it. And unfortunately, the people closest to you are the ones who get it the most, which is your family. So, again, not surprised that this is at all happening. But the way that he went there, the low blows, talking about Will's dad, Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil come out, and they're like, what's going on? And then you have that moment where, of course, Carlton's snitching ass.
He dry snitch on Will. I'm like, bro, have we learned nothing? Have we learned nothing? But the thing is, though, I will say Carlton did give him the ultimatum, like episodes prior, where he was like, either you tell them or I will. And at that point, Carlton didn't even give him the space, because he's like, all right, since you want to be in my business. and it's like, bro, you make it seem like I was trying to hurt you. I wasn't. If anything, I'm trying to get help for you and your girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I just think it was an interesting perspective to give Will complete blame. Like, Amira gets no blame in this.
I think that the problem is, when you're upset, you can't see who the blame belongs to, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Carlton always had a blind. Listen, we know this. Carlton has a blind spot for Amira. You know what I mean? And so he's not able to actually see that she's problematic. And of course, in a way where, again, she's just she's an addict, right? So there are things that you just have to kind of deal with as things go. And she's in a space of spiraling. Also, she's a hurt person who will hurt people. She's similarly to Carlton, right? So he can't see past the booty, as Tone said. And so I'm not surprised, again, by Carlton's acting this way. So of course they snitch on him. And rolling in, Aunt Viv like really lays into Will. I was actually surprised by this, but also not, because I think
I am not surprised by this, only because of the conversation she had in the beginning of the season with Carlton. And the way...
Wait, you mean Will?
No. In the beginning of the season, when she had the conversation with Carlton, like how she can't trust herself anymore. And which is why she's being more attentive and more like vocal on things, because I feel like that's the reason why.
Right.
Because not only did her son just come home from rehab, but now her nephew is out here committing crimes.
Right.
Right. And that triggered her she's like, wait, am I really not in control of my house?
That's the fed up mom speech that she gave, basically. That's I can't believe, and I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, I've done what I can do, and I've been giving you freedom to do certain things and to have these choices to make, but apparently you're choosing the wrong ones. Now we got a problem, and go ahead, pull out your phone so you can call your mom.
Right. I did like the fact that she made him call his mom, because clearly I'm not getting through to you. So you need to talk to her, But what I will say is, even after like that, my man's Will was still trying to hold it down. Okay. Like, Quentin hits him up with a text message saying like, hey, sorry I feel bad for Carlton. However, these investors are waiting. And Will's like, is it possible to get more time? Quentin's like, time is money.
Yeah. Facts.
And in that regard, I felt Quentin and I felt Will, as far as like, all right, we got to buckle down. So when Will approached Carlton to even have this conversation, the way that Carlton and Lisa responded was completely out of pocket.
I would have preferred Will to have that conversation one-on-one with Carlton and not with while Lisa was there, just because I feel like the dynamic shifts when you're having an intense emotional conversation with somebody and then it's interrupted by the person whom you're still blaming, right? Because not like he relinquished Will from fault.
He didn't know, but my thing is though, Will didn't know what conversation they were having at the table.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that. He don't even need to know about what conversation they're having at the table. Right. The point is that Carlton had already, Carlton had already accused you of being the reason why, right? Went in, go hard for real. Like, so now that you're coming over to have this conversation, you know that it's possible Carlton is still in that mindset. And I don't think that he paid attention to what was going on. Like Tone said, he didn't read the room. And I think he could have had a conversation with Carlton one-on-one versus adding Lisa into the mix. Because I just think that that's something that they need to discuss versus like all of them.
I feel like even with Lisa was trash. Lisa was very trash. I haven't seen her stand up for Will, but I've always seen her stand up for Carlton. And that's something that bothers me because everyone always makes these references of how Lisa's always there for Will, but it's like, what has she really done? She came to a Blackccess event, but I feel she only came because she knew Jackie was coming. And Jackie still outshined her then. But she got an attitude with Jackie for doing her part. Like, this is what I mean. Like, when Amira came at Will the last time, instead of speaking up for Will, Lisa jumped on a bandwagon. And I feel like irregardless of how you feel about your partner, when you're in public, you back your partner. And when you're
but they don't have that. They don't have that knowledge yet. You see what I'm saying? You in high school.
All right, you know what? That's the problem here. They got adult problems in high school, and that's my problem with this. All right, this whole little thing here, because it's really giving sickening to me. Because irregardless, Carlton has said this is my last chance with Blackccess. I am all in with Blackccess. I cannot have anything go wrong with Blackccess because my future is on the line. And as Will proceeds to approach him, irregardless of what the static is, you got to put that on a curb, okay?
But he's not thinking like that. We all know that, and we can't.
But he did it. But my thing is though, he has done it though.
No, he had this. Okay, so he has done it, right? Saying that your girlfriend got cocaine versus your girlfriend ODing on cocaine and also tossing her ass into the pool is completely different. She attempted to kill herself. That's very, very huge. In his mind, as we see, he's spiraling in this episode. He's trying to hold it together, but he is spiraling. His medulla oblongata is not all the way formed, okay? Because we only know this shit now because we're in our late 30s and our 40s. We didn't have that wherewithal and that insight in high school. When you dated somebody in high school, it's for shits and giggles. Oh, I like you, you like me. Oh, I love you, you love me. Like, we're not having, and I was not having these serious problems that they was having that they're showing on Bel-Air. So it's completely different. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, while Will could have had the conversation differently, Carlton needed to be in the headspace. All of them needed to be in the headspace for him to approach the conversation and say, hey, and even using.
My thing is though, the way life works is things aren't always going to be the right timing. Because guess what? They have a deadline to meet. They do.
Well, they had a deadline to get the investor. Yeah.
Right. So at this point, it's like, I understand you're grieving right now, but everything that we've been working on this whole summer is on the line right now.
But I think that he could have come at it like that versus saying, I know it's not the best time right now, but Quentin has been hitting me up. He could say like, hey, I know it's not the best time right now, but we know Will did not think.
He was listen, I don't feel he was abrupt. I don't feel
I didn't say he was abrupt, but he just wasn't in the space to say like he didn't think it all the way through. You have to be considerate of people's mental when you're having certain conversations with him. But as we see, Lisa doesn't really hold him down. She also jumps on the bandwagon. And then we have the spillover, which is the part about Will really figuring out and finding out that his actions have intense consequences, right? Because not only is this situation happening now, but he's been trying to contact Jazz, and it's realizing, as Aunt Viv tells him, that he's locked up. You know what I mean? Like he's in jail, which is why he hasn't been answering the phone. And again, I love Will, but Will is impulsive, right? He decides that he's going to help get Jazz out, right? Using some of the Blackccess money. He calls Hilary. Hilary shows up to co-sign, I'm guessing, on the bail or what have you. And you know, at least he's taking responsibility. But again, sometimes you gotta stop, process. You gotta do that 1, 2, 3, and then make your move.
What was wrong with him bailing Jazz out of jail?
No, nothing. I'm just talking about overall. I want him to just slow down and think things through a little bit more, because he has a tendency to just be impulsive. I like that the fact that he used the money from Blackccess, because he was already going to give Jazz that money anyway. Right. So I thought that was pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no issues with that, but of course, my biggest issue really is not even with Will. It's with this Yolanda chick, because Shorty literally shows up the minute that my man gets out, but you didn't show up to get him out. You didn't show up to put any money up. It's crazy to me, because the only reason why he was there, because you was hyping it up, and you should not be running for office and also instigating and encouraging this kind of behavior when it comes to protests. And I feel that was just crazy to me.
Right. Especially as someone running for like local office politics, the way you show up for your people matters, especially if you're claiming to be so pro-Black, pro-South LA community. Like, how? Because everything you did led to the endangerment of everyone who was following you. Anything could have went wrong in that fire. Somebody could have died. Somebody could have got hurt. He could have had security on the premises and everybody got shot.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So I feel like Yolanda's real trash. I really do.
I'm not a fan of her. I just don't fit her energy, her vibe, the way that she comes off in this show is very much a crooked politician. And I don't know if that's what they were going for, but that's definitely what she gave. And of course, you know, Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv are like in this space of parenting, right? Being present, which I'm happy for. They are being extremely present during this time of what's going on. And also letting them know that, you know, whatever they need, listen, we're here essentially. You know, don't give up on Blackccess, don't give up, period, just because things are not going the way you want them to, like right now.
Right. And I also want to give Uncle Phil his props, because when Will went to talk to Fred and confess about the whole he was there and things like that, shout out to Fred too, because Fred took the statement without a guardian present and he knew that was illegal. Mm-hmm. So therefore he had to scrap it anyway.
Right.
So it gave Will the space to get his truth out without compromising his freedom, which I appreciated. What Uncle Phil did was something that I felt was truly amazing, is that like he acknowledged Will and everything that he worked for and saw the fault in going against what he was working so hard for. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that was the most like genuine thing that could have happened at that time, especially because I feel no one truly understands that Will has a lot on his plate. And the fact that he moves impulsively is because he feels he can't lean on anyone to get the job done except himself. Mm-hmm. Like he takes on that burden a lot. You know what I mean? When it comes to Jazz, when it comes to Carlton, when it comes to Lisa, when it comes to anyone that's in his immediate vicinity, he automatically takes on what their problems are. And he's like, boom, here you go. I got you. Everybody, we right here. I got you.
And I think as a kid doing that is very harmful. And I'm sure that we've all done that at some point in time, unfortunately, you know. And I will say that moment was amazing. And I'll almost equivalent it to the moment that Uncle Phil and Will have in the original, where he says, why doesn't he want me? They just flipped it and made it a more positive moment where this is what it really should look like, right? And I'm not talking about like not taking anything away from that moment. I'm just talking about for us in 2024, when parents are actually at fault, when the adult is at fault and they know that their actions are the consequences of what the child is doing. To take responsibility and accountability and to have a conversation like that is very, very powerful. And so, knowing that was just great. It was really amazing. And of course, this is where Uncle Phil is probably having that thought in his mind, like, I gotta make some changes. Something's gotta be different. You know what I mean?
That right there, I feel, was the wake-up call he really needed. Because although you may have the mutual goal, if you don't have a plan in place for everyone to win, you're gonna keep getting messy situations, messy outcomes. And the fact that Uncle Phil really saw the error in his ways and really apologized to Will and let him know, like, listen, you did nothing wrong per se. Like, I understand your reasoning for doing what you did, but I'm not gonna let you throw your life away because of it. Like, that was deep.
Right.
That was deep because I feel like Phil really took accountability for his role in that.
He did. And I love that the way that him and Geoffrey have this brotherhood bond over this moment, because at this point we see that Frederick gets beat up by what we assume are just random people that he owes money to. And Geoffrey and Phil have this moment where they're like, Geoffrey's like, yo, he's following in my footsteps. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's becoming me. They're watching everything. And even so far as to say that they're watching everything as Uncle Phil goes to pour a drink, which I thought was super powerful, because it's literally saying like, hey, let's take a beat. Let's be more intentional, because our behaviors is something that the kids are actually taking after. And, it's in this moment where you can tell that for me, I'm like, Geoffrey got his wheels turning, like something is happening, right? And so to me, again, from the moment that Uncle Phil and Will have, which is fatherhood, like father to son, and then the moment that Geoffrey and Phil have, which is like a brotherhood, it's super powerful. And these are great examples of what Black, men should look like, or behaviors to model, but also like setting great examples of, moving forward, So
like, I feel like, someone said it, as a community, we need to communicate like that, not just for the people in our family. We need to give people like friends grace, people we don't know, the same type of attention, because it's like, you never know what the next person is going through. You never know what's influencing this child's behavior, this person's behavior. So like, to actually be cognitive and mindful of how you're showing up for people makes a difference. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So I definitely felt like Geoffrey doing that was more of a wake-up call that Phil didn't even realize he needed at the time. You know what I mean? So shout outs to them, because I couldn't even imagine having to have some of these conversations that were going on in this episode. Because one, how do you talk to your kids about, one, from Phil's point of view, how do you talk to your kid about his girlfriend ODing and you're going into your senior year of high school? Like, that's a heavy conversation. Even Geoffrey, when finding out his son was getting jumped, initially he thought it was just a bookie, but it turns out to be so much more than that. You know what I mean? And how do you break that down in a way that's easily digestible, but also like not skipping any corners on that? You know what I mean? So I applaud these men for having that strength, because
I agree. And it goes to almost back to what we had in episode 7, maybe episode 6, radical honesty, radical conversations.
Episode 6. Yeah.
So these, when you have a radical conversation, it is listen, take all the filters away on how I'm saying it and just listen to what's being said. Take the emotion out of it. This is not intended to hurt your feelings or to do anything else other than provide input and data, because that's really what it is, right? It's like, I'm providing the data and we can move forward on how to go there. And I think that's what G decides to do with Frederick, right? Because as we see you know, him and Penn are supposed to be going on a date night, but we noticed that she looks very like fidgety.
I did not see that coming.
I thought that it was a reason to why they were being followed, just because of the money situation, because it's a bookie and whatnot. But then as she gets fidgety, she doesn't have the wherewithal that Geoffrey has. So I'm like, something's not right. This feels very weird. Feels like a setup. And of course, that's when G says, "Hey, listen, you could either take me to wherever these men need you to take me, who's following you in the truck, or you can trust me, you know, like, do you trust me?" And they end up hiding, going back and having a conversation with Frederick to say, like, "Hey, shit is hitting the fan, and it's my job to protect you. It's my job to be this man. So now we have to make some certain moves." And to me, that was, again, back to just being the head of the household, being the leader, being a man that says, my ways have faulted us and gotten us into a dicey situation. Now I have to work to get us out of it. You know, right. I need you to just follow my lead. And that in itself is just.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Penelope, but I was mad at Penelope at the same time. But shout out to her for putting that faith in Geoffrey.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I feel a lot of people in general would not have put that faith in anyone. They would have been like, they got guns. We're unarmed. What we gonna do? You know what I mean?
So I trust Geoffrey. If my man was Geoffrey, I'm gonna trust Geoffrey, because
if your man was Geoffrey, so what if he's definitely top boy Geoffrey, okay? He's Geoffrey.
The John Wick is crazy. So Rastafari, yeah, that's hilarious. But no, seriously, I just feel like he has presented himself. Here's the thing, right? It's easier to trust someone when you've seen their change.
Right.
When you can actively see their growth and their change and the newness in them, then it's easier to trust you. And so I really like that Geoffrey doesn't mind explaining his past and taking accountability for his flaws, but also saying, like, this life is not easy. Like, I didn't just get this just because, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it just begs to differ. Like, he's really better at having these conversations, especially after hearing Frederick say, like, this is just the man he is, you know, like, it's in my blood. And of course, you know, and he's young. He ain't that young, but he's ridiculous.
These kids in their mouths is ridiculous. Okay, let me talk to my mother like these kids be talking to their parents. You hear me?
Nah.
Listen, I wouldn't have any teeth in the front.
Yeah, he definitely wouldn't have any teeth.
Like I'm saying, like that was different. I'm not gonna lie. That was very different. I thought, at least when it came to the Penelope G situation and Frederick, like I thought we were going to get more into that conversation than we did. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad that they even came together to have this conversation. You know what I mean? Without just uprooting his life again and just moving him without giving him any explanation. Like
right. That's true. It's because that was very important, because as we find out, Penelope says, like, listen, that little trick you tried with the money, right? It didn't work. And so now they're saying they want either you, which was the original, right? Like, they wanted Geoffrey, or it was going to be Frederick's head, basically. And so now that he knows the truth and he knows what's going on, it's like, I got to make a move, because protecting my family is my primary responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's again, you know, back to the family dynamic. It's just a beautiful thing to see it all coming together. And even in that, when we talk about the family dynamic, we see how Aunt Viv, Will, Lisa's dad show up for the healing circle for Amira, right?
Right. And my goodness, can we talk about that? Because before we get to the healing circle, we see Carlton in the car.
Mm-hmm.
He got some fast food. I didn't know they were selling Coke out the fast food joint.
Hey, listen, that was a whole lot of Coke. Or maybe it was fast food in there, but it just seemed like a whole lot of cocaine.
Listen, that was crazy. And I'm not gonna lie, when the shot of the scene was so amazing to me, because you see Will walking up to a car, knocking on the window. You see the whole, like,
that was so well shot.
And I was like, wow, Will's gonna catch him. Yes. And it wasn't. And I was like, whoa, where are we going? Where are we walking down this road right now, Carlton? You're stronger than this, Carlton. And he really made me proud. I'm not gonna lie. Like, one thing I can say is that yo, the tone is funny as hell. It's cocaine in here. Nah, but anyway, but for real though, I feel like Carlton is really showing like everything that he's been going through wasn't for nothing. You know, shout out to Viv for leaving those voice messages.
Shout out to Connor for not being the one who says, I don't want to take you off your sobriety. He said, don't throw it all away for nothing. Like, wow.
Did not see that coming. Shout out to Connor, man.
Connor went into the writer's room and said, y'all, listen, I don't want to be the asshole white friend no more. I want to be a good friend. Okay. He said, make me a good friend. And so they said that we'll have you still be a drug dealer, but this time you're going to be
but honestly, I'm not gonna lie though. It makes so much sense. He's like, I don't want to be the first one to knock you off that horse. And that was so real. Because not only are you already not liked, but if you were to be the one to knock him off the hill, were you ever truly his friend? And I think that was a point where you realized that Connor and Carlton were really friends. And they both just happened to do coke and things like that, but they were
happened to do.
Listen. Because like, if Connor wasn't his friend and he was just in it for like, you know what I mean, like he was just a drug dealer, like that would be one thing, you know.
Yeah, but
the way he showed up for him is,
I don't know. I'm a 50. I'm a toss up on that. I feel like yeah, they were friends to a degree, but mostly based on what one could do for the other. If that makes
who could do for who? Because if anything, Connor kept looking out for Carlton, begging ass.
I mean, he looked out for Carlton as far as coke was concerned, but I'm just saying overall, in general. What
did Carlton do for Connor?
I'm just saying, I don't think friendship goes both ways, and I don't necessarily know if they were friends per se. I feel like when you just got a friend that you're right, they could just be party friends. Because I don't feel like they were doing a lot more than that.
But they've been friends since they were kids, I believe.
Yeah, and then they turned into. But you can also grow apart.
Then they started doing coke together.
Exactly, you can also grow apart because what y'all, he was a token black dude, and you on like, yeah. I mean, I don't listen. We can argue that point to the hole in the wall, right? But it is what it is. So nonetheless, we see this shot. First of all, this shot was done great, beautifully. So shout out to whoever directed this episode. That scene was beautiful. My favorite part about the scene was Carlton looking himself in the eyes. Okay, having a moment with yourself. That is the only person that ever really matters is you. So when you can have that moment where you're looking at yourself eye to eye, you're thinking like, I don't want to do this. I'm not okay.
He said, "Yo, what am I doing?" He was talking to the man in the mirror, and you know what I mean. He asked him to change his ways. Okay, MJ said it best. I'm just saying.
Speaking of what are we doing? Let's get to Hilary and Jazz, okay? Because what are we doing? Like, they have this conversation. She shows up after Yolanda shows up at the precinct. She shows up to his crib, and she's like, this seems like it could be something real. And I'm not sure I really like Jazz's response. It seems a little fake to me because it's like, yeah, Yolanda's been holding me down since we were kids in school. Well, that broad did not show up to bail you out. So I'm confused as to how she's been holding you down. Nonetheless, she's also been inciting you to do things that damn well puts your business and your life in jeopardy. So I'm not really a fan. Yolanda is right there with the mirror in my book.
I don't think Jazz views Yolanda in that way, though.
I don't think so either.
I think he thought about it before, but I don't think he ever thought about taking it that far. So I feel like Hilary only saw how Yolanda looked at Jazz versus how Jazz looked back at Yolanda.
Yeah,
which is why she said that. She's like, I think this could be real because she could tell that there are feelings there for her. However, she also doesn't know that Yolanda is the reason everything went down the way it went down, and he ended up in jail.
This is true.
So I'm pretty sure if she would have had the full story, the full picture, she would not have said anything about Yolanda. But I also feel that was also like a little catalyst way of getting in to talk to Jazz again. So,
for sure.
Because we see like they go into after that, they go into like the deep conversation about like, oh, one more time, one more night. And I'm like, hello?
Yeah, I definitely did not know what the one more night meant, and the just getting because when you hear getting each other out your system, definitely usually means sex. But I do love that I love the turn that this took, which is they smoke a J and they just have
fun
moments with each other. They have fun. And I think that they are actually friends. I do think that they just happen to like and even fall in love with each other, but I do think they're solid on 100% that they're friends. And so, they have conversations. They both admit to being wrong. Hilary says she does admit to being somebody who runs away. And I actually wrote down, she said it's easier to lose interest than working through it, which is kind of crazy. And so I really like that because I, as somebody who wants to be married, I have to take that as well. And that's like a little nugget that I'm going to hold with me. And then, of course, Jazz actually also, takes accountability and responsibility for his behavior, saying that, he lets his ego, which we talk about, a lot, he lets his ego get in the way of things. And so they don't have sex. She does say that she loves him, and they keep it moving. And
I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Jazz too, because he did what every guy I feel would have done in that situation. First of all, you laying with Coco Jones. We're not even talking Hilary right now. I was shooting my shot too, bro. I ain't mad at you. But that was hilarious to me.
Yeah, he did what he's supposed to do, and I love that because I think that it now for everybody who's watched this show, which I know for a fact is millions of people, the narrative just one more night is completely different than what we thought about it. And I love that it's a positive way and not saying that means that you need to have sex with this person. And so of course with all the things happening, Will submitted to Quentin about the money, right? About finding an investor. And lo and behold, as they're at the country club, Drew Penny Loafer.
Don't call him Drew Penny Loafer.
Gucci daddy.
Yo.
Wearing ass buckethead shows.
He was yachting Ocean's 11. Okay?
I was yachting all summer. I see you guys are doing the opposite. Hey, listen, when Carlton said I beat your ass, and that was the highlight, I was like, Carlton, beat his ass again, because he thinks he doing the most right now. But yeah, he ends up being the investor. He wants to change it, talking about
it's not even him, it's his dad. So I'm really confused on to why did they that he need to introduce himself. You know what I mean? Because at this point, it's more or less like you're here for a meeting with who?
Yeah,
like
he's doing it on purpose. He probably found out through his dad or somehow, and he was like, "Oh no, I got it. I think it is one of those things where let me throw what I have in your face kind of thing." It might not be, you know what I'm saying? So
you think it's one of those like, let's see, I'm gonna give you the reins on this one from his dad?
It's possible. I think that could be an option as well. It's possible, but I do think that this is a challenge for both three of them, right? To figure out, are you going to let your emotions run your business, run your money, essentially, because that's what it is.
Right.
You got a business going, and they got it going really well, right? Because Quentin is saying, listen, y'all got people lined up. People really want y'all. They want to rock with y'all. I do think that Drew was a douchebag for wanting to take the crown out of the name and like put colors and stuff in it. It's like
listen, I feel even with that, like Will was like, we are open to ideas, and Carlton was on the big side of nah, not really.
Listen, as long as you don't take the crown off the name, I'm okay. I can support colors.
Listen, I feel like I didn't like the colors. I feel like, yes, you can add color, but all of them, come on, bro.
Not all of them.
Like
That's funny.
all of them. Like I get it. You could do different color T-shirts with the Blackccess. You could mix and match colors. You know what I mean? Make it pop. But bro, a black T-shirt with the rainbow on it is sending like you're for the LGBT more than you.
Hey, listen, we can have a feature for the LGBTQIA plus community.
We can.
We just can't do it.
That can't be our main logo. You know what I mean?
Hey, like, listen, I got it right. I feel like I got that right. I think I got it right. Shout out to me for doing. All right, so moving on to our actual finale, and these are where all of our cliffhangers come in. We're gonna hit it, like we're gonna hit y'all, because when I tell y'all, I actually was clocking stuff. Let me tell you, I was sitting here like, yep, this is about to happen. Yep, this is about to happen. Damn, I called that. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna start with one. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with I'm gonna start with my favorite, then you can start with your favorite, and whatever we don't hit, we'll do. So here's my favorite. My favorite part of this episode is that Aunt Viv is pregnant.
Huh? Little Nikki coming. That's a fact. Okay. Oh, we going. Oh, so any part. All right. Let's see.
Any part.
Listen, my favorite part of the episode has to be when Ashley, Will, and LaMarcus sat down on that bench, and they was like, "Listen, bro, I wasn't for you at first.
Right?
I was Team Jazz. Jazz is my bro, and Jazz is always gonna be here. But she chose you." And I was like, you know what?
That's the real conversation.
That's the realest conversation that I feel had all season. You feel me? Yeah. Ashley said, I made a song about it. And Will was like, yeah, it was good too. I said, yo, they are petty. But I loved it because in the original series, like Will and Ashley were always like this. You know what I mean? And I feel like although we haven't seen them grow into that, like, you know, just yet, it just gave us a glimpse into how their teamwork can work. You know what I mean? Like I really want to see them do a dance in the room type of situation, like on the first season. You know what I mean? Like, because Ashley is in the band. You know what I mean? So we'll go in there, go crazy one time on the drum, get crazy, you know? So
I agree with that. I do love, I second that. I love that scene as well. I think my thing was, even though it's a very short scene, I think it's just that as soon as Aunt Viv said she wasn't feeling well, I said, listen, y'all had some pregnant sex over at Puta Tiki, wherever y'all asses was at, right? Y'all was getting freaky. And so here we go, because we got little Nikki. All right, I just made all that rhyme. Come at me, all right?
I got one more. When Hilary and Phil had that conversation, and he was like, how I really love your mother, and she was like, I know, but we still show up, right? And that right there, I love how she brought back up girl dinner, brought back up, like, I really like that vulnerable moment that I feel they shared, and it just shows like the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, and history always gonna repeat itself, for real. Like, it's crazy.
This is true, but I also, like you said, I just love that, again, tidbits to take into a real marriage. You keep showing up. When you stop showing up, that's when it's really going to be trouble. But if you keep showing up, you know, at least you still have a fighting chance. And I really do love that moment that they have together, for sure. Now let's talk about what all happened in this episode. Your girl lost the ring. Okay. I said, what?
Listen,
okay.
The fact that she lost the ring in Jazz's house, because I already knew what she lost it at.
I knew what she lost it at too.
I already knew what she lost it at. I was like, oh, you was high.
She probably took it off and was like, "Ooh, it's so sparkly." Like, have you ever seen a diamond?
All right, maybe the old Hilary would have did that, but the black Hilary wouldn't have did that. I ain't gonna lie.
If you high and you spark, listen, it's a possibility. That's all.
She was smoking weed. She wasn't on shrooms. Okay,
listen, I don't know nothing about this. I'm just saying that it's a possibility. Nonetheless, we know what she lost her ring, right? And so of course she's hiding. She's basically saying, like, you know, she sent it off to get polished because LaMarcus gonna notice the big old rock that's missing off your finger.
Right.
And which is kind of like more lies, and I think that's the part of what it was. I think it was that she got tired of the more lies situation, and also she got caught, right? So let's
But
be
my
clear
thing
about
is,
that.
how did you feel about her initially lying to LaMarcus?
I felt like, especially not knowing where the ring was at the time, I was not for it. I think, and again, this is not easy. Let me be very, 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 very clear. As somebody who's been in relationships, right? If you do something that or even whether it's intentional or not, if you know that the result is going to be hurting your partner, it's a very tough conversation to have. But if you don't show up with honesty, listen, something that I'm probably sure my grandma told me, which is if you tell one lie, you got to tell another lie to cover up the lie you just told. And by that time, sometimes you forget the lie that you told, and now you're gonna get yourself hemmed up. So for me, I just think honesty is the best policy. So I don't think that the timing of it when he asked where the ring was or anything was like the best time to say like I lost my ring. But I think she could have pulled him to the side and said, "Hey babe, like listen, I need to talk to you. I misplaced my ring and I don't know where it is," or whatever have you. But I think that the lying part, ultimately, that's how he felt when we see, everything
Later
happening
on.
down the line.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to like episode 10 as a collective, that it was a lot of heightened emotions during a time where I thought it should have been a lot more peaceful. But then again, in this show, we know everything is always something going on behind the scenes. Like it's always something. Like the fact that it was so easy for her to like throw that lie out there, I already knew it was gonna be a bunch of stuff after that. Like I already knew. But my question is, why didn't she hit up Jazz when she realized she lost her ring?
Because I don't think she was thinking that that was the place she lost it, even though she said she was retracing her steps, right? So she should have retraced her steps back to Jazz. But as we see, Jazz finds the ring in his shoe, and he calls Will and he's like, "Yo, tell me you haven't left yet." And he's like, "Nah, I left," and he's like, "Damn, listen, I got the ring." And so Will brings the phone to Hill, and Ivy takes the phone actually, and she's like, "If you care about Hilary at all, you love her in any capacity, you'll show up and you'll bring her the ring." So
indifferent about Ivy's character, so indifferent. But continue. I'm sorry.
I mean, I just feel like she be doing the most, and we didn't touch on that because she was doing the most in episode 9, being at the table with Hilary and the wedding planner, basically trying to trash talk Ashley. Like Ashley will drop kick you, Ivy. Okay, that's number one. I got my money on Ashley, putting 5 on it for sure.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think Ivy just, how you have those people who want it to be their wedding so that they impose their ideas of what they want on you, kind of thing. And also, she's a social media influencer, so she's trying to capitalize.
I don't think it's more or less that. I think she's just excited for her friend so much. I do think she wanted the maid of honor position though.
And right, and listen, you can have 2 maids of honor because again, Ashley is in high school, so this is the summertime, but nonetheless, she's a kid. She don't want to. You ask me during summertime to be your maid of honor, cool. I'm gonna just show up and wear the shoes and the dress that you picked out, but I definitely don't want to help out with all that stuff, missing out on the summertime that I got with Eli going on. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, true, because Ashley couldn't plan a bachelorette party. Well, she could have. But it would have had to be at a restaurant and between the hours of 1 to 5, and you know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Like I ain't condoning that, man.
Yeah. So we see Jazz show up for Hilary. He does bring he's stuttering like how I'm stuttering right now because he's like just wow, like I'm just taken aback. You look absolutely gorgeous and you look happy. That's a very powerful line to say to somebody that you love, that you feel like you missed out a chance on, is that you look happy. And for him to ask, like, are you happy? And for her to say yes, to me, that's powerful. And I love that there was no foolery in this scene with them, because I really do like the authenticity of, you can have feelings for somebody else and move on in a healthy way where there's no last minute kiss right before I get married. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Like there's no mess. And I like that.
They already had that though. They already had their closure.
They did, but him showing up still, even on the day of her wedding, when he technically wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
It could have went a different kind of way, but it didn't.
I really thought it was about to be some Dwayne Wayne going on, man. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Let me know in the comments, man. Was y'all expecting the Hilary? Don't do it. Yeah. I love you. Will you marry me? You know, it's like I ain't gonna hold you. Like, let me know, man. Do y'all think that he was supposed to do that? He was supposed to do that.
Nah, I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, especially because homie didn't last long enough for him.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm my bad.
Oh my God. You gotta be stopped.
They should have just named him Trevor. But we're gonna continue. It's all right. It is okay. But all jokes aside, though, let's move on to Ashley and Eli. So, as we know, episode 9, Ashley was missing. So, I be asking, where's Ashley? Definitely raise the red flag. Like, where is Ashley? Like, you know,
she's out enjoying the summer as a teenager should. Girl, bye.
And I understand that. So, Ashley admits to Eli that she likes him too, and decides that she want to keep it a little secret between them before they have to expose it to the family. I initially did not like this at all because I'm like, you can't be the person who call everybody else out on their crap and then go ahead and do what you see everybody else doing. You know what I mean? But then again, she's the youngest out of everybody. So if she was to keep a little secret, you know, and everybody got their own stuff going on. So if she was to keep a little secret, but I think Uncle Phil would have definitely killed Eli.
He definitely would. But I love that she comes to her own conclusion after, you know, obviously LaMarcus and Hilary have their conversation, and you know, she knows why LaMarcus, you know, left, and basically is saying like, now, you know, secrets hurt people and things can get messy. So I think I'm going to tell my dad after also sneaking a glass of champagne. I caught that, Ashley, right? So like,
I wasn't mad at that. You had a wedding, you the maid of honor, you deserve a glass of champagne.
Listen, that better be apple cider, okay? It bet not. I'm
not gonna lie. I'm that brother. I was like, here, you can take a little sip of my cup. All right, come back. Yeah, right. It's okay. Listen, man, you don't even want to talk about her brother did coke. a little sip of champagne ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Listen, it might if this is addiction number one. Hello,
got you.
But I love that they have this moment and they come to the conclusion, and this is what we were waiting for, right? And so I would say is the climax of Ashley's character is they come to the conclusion as Eli is talking. He said, you know, I said I liked boys, you said you like girls, but here we are liking each other, and I just want the freedom to like people. And so we see that this is not, you know, they're not heterosexual, they're not gay, they are fluid, they like whoever. And hey, listen, I'm all for it.
I believe.
Yeah. So you know, I like that, and I think that it's cool. Now, another part of this episode that is really, really near and dear for me is I called this and I said that something about the way Geoffrey is talking sounds like he's leaving.
Man.
And we see him saying the most powerful and beautiful things to each and every one of them. You know, he has his moment with Uncle Phil, and you can hear it. He's like, man, can't believe we're watching our baby girl get married. You know, she was 6 when you welcomed me into the family. And so it's just listen, let me tell you something, just from a woman, but from a Black woman's perspective, especially in this space. I don't know what it's like on the other side, so I can only speak as a heterosexual. For me, it's super powerful for a Black man to really give you your flowers, to give you like your kudos in a way that's in such a like a fatherly, uncle, brotherly kind of way. I don't think that I hope that this resonates. I want Black men to understand how powerful your words actually are. You know what I'm saying? And just for a quick second, like our friendship, I just want to shout that out because, you know, you hold me down, I hold you down, but I really think that it's a beautiful thing to really have a solid friendship with the opposite sex who you know really cares about you genuinely and puts positive and really feeds into you, because I think a lot of times we're so accustomed to people telling us what we're doing wrong, and you know, and we don't get our flowers when we should. And so this moment was just super powerful. I love he goes down the end respect as well, like Tone said. And so, you know, he's talking to Carlton, he's talking to Will, he's telling them, you know, to keep pushing, to keep striving, how he's so proud of them. And man, it was powerful for me as a Black woman. So, you know, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I literally started to feel it in my chest because I'm like, no, I already seen the signs, but this is like the icing on the cake right here when he, you know, and as he's saying these things, I like that he made it interpersonal to what they're truly going through. And it just an ode to like, I see you, you know, I respect the growth. I want you to celebrate yourself for the growth that you've made. Like that right there was something I feel they both needed to hear from Carlton. Like, I see you. Keep striving to be great. Will, this was new to you, but you overcame that obstacle, and you're doing great things now. Don't forget, celebrate your small accomplishments, your big accomplishments too. Like, it's okay to celebrate a little bit. Like, you've come a long way. So that was really amazing. And then seeing him do that final stroll across the dance floor and watching the family from a distance, and everyone's just smiling and looking so happy. It was beautiful. And I was like, so they better not have a new Butler next season. If there's
we can't because, you know, you can't listen. I don't know who it could be, but as of right now, big shoes to fill.
Right.
Big shoes to fill, man. Shout outs to Geoffrey's character for sure, because I mean, he did such an amazing job, you know, for real. And it was just powerful. And I challenge everybody who's watching this review to like, shout out your friends, man. Big up your friends. Like, really just tell them you're proud of them for what they've accomplished or what they've overcome. Every now and then you really need it. Like, and I will just go say you need it more than every now and then. You need it more often than you really realize, especially as an adult, because nobody prepared us for this shit. This adult stuff is whack, right? You know, and I like to think that I have more cheerleaders than I do people who are trying to down me. But
respectfully,
you know, of course, you know, like we said, there's just so much happening. Geoffrey saying his goodbyes, you know, Hilary comes and she talks to LaMarcus. She has that moment where she's saying no more secrets, you know, like, and I'm sorry, but I'm here, like, I'm choosing you. I want to show up. I'm going to fight for this marriage. And essentially she's putting her trust in the fact that he wants to fight for the marriage as well. And thankfully we see him wanting to, because he shows up at the altar. They get married. There's no interruption from Jazz. And this is a peaceful, you know, it's an authentic moment. I'm sure that the cast probably felt for sure too, wrapping up the end of the season, right? And so the joy is there, the excitement is there, and then we of course see them take off to their honeymoon. And
oh my gosh, man,
the cliffhanger for this is that she's pouring him another mimosa. And I saw it. I just felt like I seen him leaning too much. It just didn't look like I just didn't like the feel of it.
I just thought he was tired. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't think anything of it at first. Like he just looked tired. He looked like she just warm out, you know.
I mean, I thought that too, but then I just felt like the way that they panned the camera, as she was saying, "You want to do what? Like, it's our honeymoon, but all right, fine," you know. And then turning back and him being essentially having, because remember, I don't know, because they don't tell us whether or not he had the heart surgery or not. Because remember, that was a part of like episode 6, I think. Where everything happened, and they said he had been living with this heart condition his whole life and he didn't know it, and they said that he was supposed to have open heart surgery. So where between the situation and getting married it don't sound like he had open heart surgery.
He didn't have surgery. He couldn't have because they got married 1 week after he got out of the hospital. Exactly. Or like maybe 2 weeks.
Maybe max. 2 weeks, yeah.
You know, so like that in itself was wow. I didn't even see that coming.
I didn't expect that. I thought it was a very I won't say abrupt, but I will say that it was. I just didn't see it coming. I didn't think that would be the way. I didn't see that.
I didn't see that coming at all.
Very, very light.
I made a joke earlier about this, but I really did feel bad. I was happy that he was at least able to marry the woman he loved, you know, to share that moment, to share that time. But I also feel like low-key Hilary broke the rest of his heart. So
yeah,
you know what y'all think, man. And she should, if he didn't see Jazz and have to hem him up and all that, do you think that LaMarcus will still be with us today? Probably not, because the writers wrote him out. But anyway, I'm just saying. No,
I think it's definitely heartbreaking, and as somebody who's lost a romantic love, because there are different parts, you know, there are different grieving, obviously, you know what I mean. They're different loss, right? Romantic loss, familial loss, you know, child to mother loss. They're all different, right? Right. But I think that this is going to be very, very interesting.
How she bounce back
to see how things go after this for sure. But was not expecting that at all.
Silver lining though, she ain't signed a prenup.
You know what? I'm done with your shenanigans. Anyways, so of course Carlton and Uncle Phil have a moment, just like, you know, Hilary and Uncle Phil had a moment, but everybody was having moments, and so Carlton's trying to get out this contract because he said, "Hey, listen, Dad, I ain't got it, and I don't want to have to deal with it because I'm sick and tired of penny loafers over here, and so we need to figure out a way to get out this contract." And he basically tells him, which is great business advice: don't let your emotions dictate your business actions, you know, and your money moves essentially. And so, you know, at least he's not giving him the easy way out, which I think is a great thing, because he could easily say, like, which he did. He said, yeah, there's a way out of it for sure, but I didn't think you would want to be that person, or, you know, and but so much words. And so,
I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Phil in that moment too. Like, Phil was just on a roll that day. Okay, but I also
daddy into the 100th degree.
But I also feel like he did that because he already had the plan in motion from episode 9, and he needed them to stay solid in what they were doing in order to get the full spectrum of what his vision was.
That's possible.
And the father is a black man, and as we saw, what Uncle Phil's true vision was and how it came together was so much bigger than I anticipated myself. Like, I did not. I knew he was up to something. Like, even when he brought Yolanda in to have the conversation, like, I was shocked at that, because it was like, whoa, why is she here? Like,
yeah, I'm trying to tell you, man, her attitude just was stank. Like,
it's real stank. Like,
real stank.
I bet you if they would have cut her in on some profit, she would have shut up. She ain't have a business in South LA.
Listen, I'm not. I just something about her energy as that character is just real. I ain't like it, but you know. And speaking of accountability, let's gonna take it back real quick for the episode 9, which was, you know, Lisa's dad having that moment with Aunt Viv to just say, you know, I apologize, and she has been taking on a lot, and also, like, if you can help me out with any information on how to get, you know, my wife help, you know, that I will definitely take you up on that, because that's another thing with the, you know, he showed up with his ego and his pride, and he was willing to say, listen, my family needs me to show up without that. And so, you know, just shout out to him for turning it back around and having a moment to say, like, I need to be accountable for my actions, and that probably wasn't right. Yeah, so,
like, I don't want disagreements to affect raising Lisa. And
yeah.
Right there is the most selfless thing that you could do.
Yeah, I agree. So our cliffhangers right now, because I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything. Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv Well, Uncle Phil doesn't realize that Aunt Viv is pregnant yet, but Aunt Viv is pregnant. G is definitely left as he leaves, you know, a card for Uncle Phil to let him know that it's time to take his family away, just so that it doesn't affect his family, Uncle Phil's family, which it actually ends up doing, right, as we see later on.
So my question is, why did Will even go to Geoffrey's house in the first place?
Because he said, wasn't Geoffrey supposed to be here, which was somewhere they were doing something. Oh, at the announcement for Uncle Phil saying that they were going to do something in South LA, and Geoffrey wasn't there, and he thought it was weird, so he ended up going to Geoffrey's place.
Text message going to work?
I think he called, but it went to voicemail. Did it not?
I can't remember now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, I can't remember either. But I felt like he tried, but I do think he did call and it went to voicemail. I think that was the issue. And so as we see, per usual, Will's not paying attention to what's going on. Like, did Geoffrey teach them nothing? Did Geoffrey teach you nothing? But yeah, he gets snatched up in this gray truck that has been essentially following Penn and Frederick. And yeah, so that's a cliffhanger that we don't know. I didn't see that coming for sure. Definitely did not see that coming. So that's a different cliffhanger that I was expecting.
And the fact that
his character,
the fact that Geoffrey left because he didn't want this to affect the family, and it still came around like 360, which is crazy. And
I actually think that was clever.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that I like the fact that although Geoffrey did ditch town, the people were still like, you know what? We're going to find a way to get to you, you know? So it's going to bring Geoffrey back for whatever next season holds.
Yeah, which I'm not opposed to that because
I'm hoping.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be a clever cliffhanger to end up bringing him back into the next season so that he doesn't stay gone because, again, filling his shoes is going to be nearly impossible. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just piggybacking off of filling his shoes going to be nearly impossible because, as we know, when people love a character and they try to switch him out, they can't unviv Geoffrey, man. I'm sorry, they can't unviv Geoffrey.
We don't want it. Okay, just so you're clear, and I'm sure you guys don't want it, but you can let us know in the comments. We don't want a new Geoffrey. We want the old Geoffrey back, Right. And of course, before Will got kidnapped, let's also make sure that we talk about Amira because it's the first time that we see her. And also, let's rewind because we missed that part where we finally shoe drop, which is Amira ain't have no sister because, like I said, she a repeat
offender. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I will say this on camera in front of everyone. I tried to be on Amira's side in the beginning. I was like, she a repeat offender. Give it some grace. Nah, she's scum. And then when we got the full story from the mom, like it just goes to show like people will say anything, do anything to the people that they love in order to get their fix. And they justify it by doing hurtful things to people and not even realizing it. So
yeah, because I mean the way that her face was like, what do you mean this time of the year? I already knew. Let's go. Let's get it. Give it to me right now. So again, I wish I had my cell phone, but I don't. But I'm just gonna say it anyway. Come here. Okay. Come here. What did I say? I told you she was bad from the beginning, okay? I said what I said, and I'm sticking to it. So all of you out there who said, oh, you're still being too hard on the mirror, you know what you can do?
Come here.
Yes. You should have listened to me, okay? But yeah, Mom Dukes lets the cat out the bag and basically says Amira doesn't have a sister. She got into a really bad car accident. She got set up with some pain meds, and then she went from pain meds to cocaine. So there you have it. Okay.
I will say though, during this send-off for Amira, I do feel this was the most genuine Amira has been the entire season.
Absolutely. Agree with that.
And that's the only time I really felt something when she spoke.
Yeah.
And when she was talking to Carlton, even with Will, like saying, hurry back, like type situation. It just shows that like it's nothing personal.
Yeah.
It's literally we care genuinely about you getting better.
Yeah.
And I hope that she uses this time to actually buckle down, because when she get back next year, like, what are we gonna receive from her?
Yeah, what are we gonna see? I mean, shout out to her for taking accountability, for saying that she treated them like shit, that they were genuinely the closest thing she's had to friends, but she said some nasty things to them, and she tried to push them away. She tried to push Carlton away, but he stood around. He stuck by her, and so I love, again, just so much positivity, so much love, so much accountability in this entire last 2 episodes, that it was really fire. Really fire. So yeah, so they send her off. She's going to a specialty clinic this time that deals with trauma and addiction, or the link of trauma to the, because of trauma there's an addiction. So definitely shout outs to her getting what she needs to get her better.
Right. But I already said she needed a shrink in the first place, in a straitjacket. So
this is true.
Maybe she gonna get all that.
She might get a lenient version of a straitjacket.
You think they gonna still give her medicine?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think that's how that's supposed to work.
Like, I'm saying, like, because we know she started on some painkillers, but like some of these like behavioral correcting medicines and things like that could be addictive too.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So like, I guess we gotta stay tuned, man, to see like what really happens. Let us know. What's your predictions, man? If there is a season 4, because we haven't gotten anything.
We are fingers crossed that season 4 is already going to come to us, and they're gonna drop and say, "Hey, season 4 is already in the works." Because I think this show is doing a very good job at merging, not even merging, but just in taking such a classic, man, and making it so relatable to right now. Because I can just see that as an adult who's watching it, there are things that I'm like, oh, okay, and I can see how even a teenager who's watching this show, even if they have those struggles, they realize and like, yo, we can really overcome. We can do this. This is how we can have these kind of conversations. This is what not to do, And of course, everything is not the same, and this is just TV to a degree. But there's always something that you can take away from every show, every movie, every song that we listen to. There's always something that you can take away, for the most part.
Like, I will say the highlight of everything in this series is definitely family. And one thing I can say is that, like, no matter what these people have gone through, they showed up in times that mattered. Like infidelity, freaking insecurities, addiction, adjusting to overcoming any type of obstacle. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so amazing. Like, so shout out again to the writers for, like you said, making this so relatable, making it so digestible for the palate, that it's not like trauma driven. You know what I mean? It's also a lot of solutions here.
Mm-hmm.
There are also a lot of like celebrity cameos of Black celebrities who are succeeding in different avenues of the world to show how multifaceted we are. And anything is truly possible if you put your mind to it. Like, yes, in this show, these kids have a lot of resources that a lot of young kids don't have. However, is more or less what you put your mind to. Because as we know, Zaire, it doesn't have everything. But he is taking advantage of an opportunity for being in the right place at the right time. You know what I mean? So I just love the messages that they send. It's like, although you may start in last place, that doesn't mean you can't get to first.
Absolutely. I agree with that 110%. I think that, let us know how you feel in the comments. Like I said, Cliffhangers, Aunt Vi is pregnant. This is 2024. Viv. Oh, we didn't even talk to Aunt. We didn't even talk about Aunt Vi and her new boo. I mean, listen, you showed up with a new boo. Next time, give your kid a heads up. You know what I'm saying? Because if my mama show up, Mom, if you show up with the man that I don't know, as grown as I am, I'm finna get that man some smoke. Okay, it's gonna go down.
You doing background checks?
It's gonna go down. Okay, I ain't playing. Checks? Yeah, I'm doing background checks.
Mama gotta have a life too.
Listen, you can have a life. Let me just make sure that he checks out. Now you go and sit over there in the corner, and I'm gonna do what I need to do. But yeah, so Aunt Viv is pregnant. This is 2024. We know that women have the right to choose. So I'm interested to see what direction they go with this. But I mean, listen,
man,
Lil Nicky is Lil Nicky is part of the original.
I'm not gonna hold you. I want to see how this house get flipped upside down when baby Nikki come in.
Yeah.
Because right now with Ashley, she's the baby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she don't really want to be the baby no more anyway, so I think it'll be fine. But they were ready to be empty nesters because they was talking about doing some things we're not gonna talk about doing on the air. But so okay, so Aunt Viv is pregnant. Uncle Phil.
One more time.
I said Aunt Viv.
No, I know.
Uncle Phil has embarked on a totally new project, still working with Campbell, but in a way that really actually helps the community, along with this chick, whoever she is, because she acts like a mafia, but she wants to be some sort of politician. What will become of Jazz now that he does get to keep his shop, and things are thriving, but he's not, obviously no longer with Hilary? Is LaMarcus actually dead, or is he? Do they save him? Yeah, is he having a cardiac crisis? What's going to happen with Blackccess? Drew, Will, and Carlton did come to an agreement. They won't change anything. They'll do what's best for the company, and they'll keep it moving. So what happens, because now that the summer is getting ready to be over, that means school is back in session. So what happens when the next session comes about? Lisa and Will still going strong. Lisa got the push that she needed to continue to swimming, which is meeting one of the gold medalists or bronze medalists from the Olympics that was there, right? Yeah. Will is kidnapped. What happens next? And does that mean G is going to come back and have something that helps him out? What's Ashley doing? Is she gonna be with a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Doesn't matter. When
school start back, she started in high school.
Yeah, this is a lot, man. Carlton is still clean. He looks at Amira's location. She's in Boston. So will he? What will come of their relationship, and how will he handle the distance? Right. And also, yes, of course, Carlton got an actual email from Yale that said, listen, this is the kind of comeback story colleges love. And as we saw, he was getting ready to write basically his essay, his personal statement. And I can't wait to see what comes of it. So listen, there's so much happening in this episode for sure. The season was amazing. Shout out to Peacock. Shout out to the writers. Shout out to the videographers and all the people who put hard work into this show. Kudos to you. Tell us what you feel, man. But like I said, I'm always gonna hop in the comments. Shout outs and confetti for us, for holding it down. Yeah. And we appreciate y'all for real. So, stay tuned for our next project. We'll be here, right here, Big Go Bell Media. And until next time, y'all, peace.
Man.